Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. Ho, ho, hold on to your glassware, because on today's episode, we're unwrapping some Christmas craft that we're hoping will leave us feeling rather jolly. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us! Well, this is our pre-Christmas episode. I think I'm putting this out like literally on the Monday before Christmas. So, in a couple of days.
Listen to it while you're preparing your
it'll
dinner.
be Christmas. Maybe you're listening to this while you do Christmas dinner. Maybe you're doing it while you're wrapping presents.
If you're listening to this while you're enjoying Christmas dinner, I am really.
Dinner.
I was going to say, dinner. If you're eating your Christmas dinner and this is what you're listening to, I'm very sorry.
Our listeners, maybe that's what they enjoy doing. Don't be rude.
I just feel I'm sorry that's what you got listen to me.
Goodness sake.
I appreciated the ho hold your glassware as well, because you put so much more gusto into that than I thought you would. Like, I thought you were going to read it a bit cheeky. You went what the kids say, full send.
What is the point of not going full throttle for Christmas?
I've got
my My Little Pony Christmas t-shirt on. You've got your little Christmas jumper. I've got snowman earrings in, and we have got some festive flavours for you this year. I don't know if we might have talked about festive flavours before. Do you know what? What's this now? Like our fourth Christmas episode?
Oh no, we definitely have talked about this stuff before. So I've tried to get talking points. Well, I've tried to get talking points that are like slightly different. So I mean, that will just be a mystery to you, I think, because I've not put it on our shared sheet. I've put it on a separate spreadsheet. So yeah.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? So we've picked some, as I said, some festive flavours. I think this was this started by us looking at Vault City beers and going, oh, they sound nice.
Yeah.
Or was it the spoiler, Holy Goat Plum Porter that started this one?
No. I think it was the Vault City. I think it was because we were looking for the pumpkin spice, and then we were looking at Vault City's website and we went, oh, that's a bit nice. Oh, that sounds good. And then in order to get some of the other things, we had to order off of was it Trembling Manors or was it?
No, it's Rainville this time.
Rainville, yeah.
Yes,
so we were looking on Rainville. Yeah, because they had more of the Vault Cities.
Yes.
So then we were like, well, what else can we get? And then that's when we were like, well, they've got the first beer that we're going to have, which I won't say yet. And then we're like, oh, they've also got the Holy Goat Plum Porter. So there we go. That's a Christmas one. That's great. I think, to be fair, this episode is less about, well, we always put a Christmas one out, and it's less about the actual style and the conversation. It's more about the fact that the beers were very much coming first. And we're like, we want to drink these beers. So I guess we just... figure out a reason.
We'll let you know whether you should be drinking them as well. I mean, by the time you listen to us, it's probably a bit late. But if you have these in your stash, or you could get them for New Year's, maybe if there's any of these left, then we'll tell you whether you should buy them or not.
'Tis the season.
Yeah. So what are we starting with?
I'd put the Vault City Mulled Dark Cherry first.
Oh, this does sound nice. I am a big fan of the can of this one.
It's great.
It is like cherry pink, and it's all lovely.
It's holographic-y.
Yeah,
it's like a shiny Charizard, but like a Christmas, a Christmas shiny.
Yeah.
Let's open this bad boy then.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to check if I needed to roll this first. I'm guessing it's fine.
I had this conversation the other day with somebody. And it was when we were judging beers, actually. And someone was like, oh, maybe we should, if it's hazy, should we have rolled it? And I was like, I don't play that game. Like, I feel like if it's hazy, it should just be hazy. And if, I feel like...
Well, Vault City catches me out sometimes. It's not about that. It's about the fruit. It's about the fruited sour. And, well, it's also a bit of, like, a lot, like, I've had many Vault Cities where it has literally
Big loop at the bottom.
Ben, like, no. The cans literally said, roll this before opening.
Okay.
The problem is, because they don't all say that, I've gotten used to not doing it.
Yeah.
And then I've opened the can and then go, sugar. That's the one that I should have done that on.
Should have done that.
I go, sugar plums. It's not.
We didn't.
Right.
This looks beautiful. Look at that. It's like got a lovely moussey pink tinged head.
Yeah, it's such a pretty colour.
Cherry red.
Colour of, got a pinkish colour to it.
It does smell like...
It smells mould. Mould
it
AF.
Does. It smells mould. It smells...
Sorry. Mulled. MULLED. So if someone heard that and thought we said mould, not mould, mulled.
Mulled.
Mulled. The more you say it, the worse.
Sounds weirder, right?
It sounds weirder the more you say it. Initially, I was like, oh, let me enunciate, because I've been told someone would be like, what? Say that again. And especially for our US listeners, they might be like, the heck did you just say? So I thought I'd enunciate, but then the more I say mulled, it just feels... I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
We were watching... Lucy Beaumont's comedy special the other day, because she's got a very thick accent because she's from Hull, I believe. And
Hull.
She talks a lot about how people can't understand what she's saying because of her accent. And in fact, she's like, my child doesn't even understand what I'm saying. So that's fun.
Oh, it just smells like cinnamon.
It smells good.
Beautiful mulling spices.
It smells like I got one of the Glue Creeks one year and I mulled that, and it smells just like that.
There's almost a bit of like, obviously I know it's cherry, but the cherry almost can, because of the mulling spices, it almost smells a bit like cranberry in a way.
And a little bit vinous.
Yeah. It just smells lovely.
I was just looking on the can and I was hoping to see the Vault City sourness scale on it, so I could get a little gauge on how sour it is before we tasted it. But this one's not got it on it.
No.
Sad times.
That's like probably one of the only ones. Actually, the one we've got later doesn't, but I kind of, I guess maybe sort of expect that. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah. All right. Are we going in?
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah.
It's not as tart as I thought it might be. I thought with the cherry, I thought it might be a bit more like sharper in tartness, but it's not. It's fairly It's fairly. I mean, session sour, isn't it? And it is fairly sessionable.
I wondered if it'd be a bit sweeter. I don't mind that it's not.
I don't mind that it's
very
not either,
sweet,
but you do get a lot of the spices, I think.
Yeah, you get a lot of the spices in there. It's nice.
It does make me kind of wish that I could heat it up just to see. I do think that there's like a bit of bitterness. I would have liked it, to be fair, I would have liked it a touch sweeter, I think. But it's not.
That's being picky though.
That is me being picky. It is fairly drinkable. I think I'm wondering if you were to warm it up, if that little bit of bitterness that is there might have just kind of be ironed out a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, listeners, if you've got one of these and you decide to warm it up and mull it, could you let us know? Tell us how you
Maybe
did.
I'll do it before the end of this. Ooh. I've got some left. I can warm some up. We can do a little pause and we can warm it up, but let's let it it can warm up a little bit naturally on its own first.
I think it is. Like, I could imagine like drinking this by crackling fire with the Christmas lights twinkling away. Couldn't you?
I think so. But then I don't know if it's just because it's the spices that are already kind of in my brain. Because this is not normally like a cherry sour for me isn't what I normally would go for my Christmas or holiday vibes. But it is definitely very much the spices that have made the difference, I think.
I mean, I'm pulling a face because I've definitely bought an entire 750ml bottle of that Glue Creek from Lindemans and drunk it myself on Christmas Day. Like, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but cherry sour is exactly what I want to drink at Christmas.
It's not my flavour profiles it's not my Christmas flavour profiles. Mine are definitely more in the toffee family, the toffee chocolatey family, I think.
Toffee chocolate, all right. Okay.
Yeah. Not chocolate orange.
Not chocolate orange. No, not chocolate orange. Someone gave me a chocolate orange the other day, and it's got
did you throw it at
candy.
them?
No, because it was a child.
Oh, same question.
No, one of the brownies gave it to me as a Christmas present, and it's chocolate orange, but it's got popping candy in it as well.
Did you just
maybe fancy now?
Maybe don't throw it at the child, but like, did you look at that child and go, "What is wrong with you?"
No, absolutely I said thank you very much.
That you were very kind. I would have been like, now let me take this moment to educate you on why what you bought was very wrong. Popping candy is the only redeeming quality about this chocolate.
I mean, the mum normally buys me beer, but because it was Christmas, she bought chocolate. So
I would have been like, excuse me, may I exchange this for one of your finest beers, please? Oh, God. Oh well, a child gets a free pass, I guess. The mum does not get a free pass, but the child maybe gets a free pass. That's fine.
Yeah.
Speaking of gifts, actually, that's a really good natural segue.
Oh.
I maybe have asked ChatGPT. So before we've talked about, in previous Christmases, I'm fairly certain, if not, I've definitely written stuff about it in previous Christmases, and I feel like we've definitely talked about it in terms of like what to get the beer lover in your life.
Oh, yes.
Right, but I'm not going to talk about that in this episode because I feel like it's easy.
Probably covered that
nowadays. We've covered it, and I feel like nowadays it's just easy. You go to breweries, you look at their merch. There's books, there's clothes, there's beer itself, bottle openers. Sometimes the bottle openers aren't printed properly, so one of you gets a woman's beer, one of you gets the podcast, and arguably it's kind of funnier when you have one that just says the podcast on it. So maybe that's what you should get. You could get people, any of the varying things behind me, glassware, lots and lots of stuff. I feel like we've talked about all the things that you can buy for people to death if you don't want to buy them beer. But I did ask ChatGPT of like, what are some, please create 5 gifts. I think I did write something quite like, oh no, Christmas is nearly here, and the beer lover in your life, their Christmas list did not make it to the North Pole. And so I was like, Santa, please create 5 unique inventions for a craft beer lover in your life. And I thought I would. I mean, I legitimately wrote it like I was like, oh no, the list never made it to the North Pole. Like that was literally what I put into ChatGPT.
That's so good.
So there are some things that Santa's Workshop has made up for the craft beer lover in your life, and I thought I would tell you what it was. I would tell you why it was cool, and some of them have a little bonus to them. And then I thought you could tell me if it's something that you would be interested in receiving.
It's a little bit Dragon's Den-y.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Christmas Dragon's Den. I was made for this. Hello, dragons. I'm excited. I wish I had PowerPoint presentations done. I wish we could share PowerPoint presentations. If only I thought about that. Thank you, dragons, for listening to me today. My first invention, it's not my invention, it's Santa's invention, but it's on behalf of him because he couldn't be here. Mm-hmm. He had a sleigh to tune. I don't know. He's packing. He's packing. He's packing lots of things, toys, his sleigh, everything. He's going to slay this Christmas. So the first invention from him is the Brew, which is a craft beer infusion kit.
Okay.
What is that, I hear you ask? Well, dragons. That? Yeah. It is a sleek countertop device that lets beer enthusiasts infuse their favorite brews with fresh ingredients like citrus, herbs, spices, or coffee beans. That one was a bold choice. It uses a vacuum system to quickly extract and meld flavors without altering the beer's carbonation. And it used the word meld. That is fun.
Oh.
So, okay. Why is it cool? Oh, what? Yeah.
Why is it cool?
It's because it turns any beer into a custom creation, perfect for experimenting with new flavor profiles. For example, turn a stout into a peppermint mocha-inspired beer, or add fresh orange peel to an IPA. That just feels like you could do that anyways.
That's lame.
You got me at the first part of that, and then they're like, or hear us out.
Put some orange.
You can add an orange peel to the to the IPA, and the bonus is that it comes with reusable infusion cartridges and a recipe app. It kind of sounds like a Soda Stream. I know that that's what you're thinking. It's sort of like a Soda Stream, but it's not.
Okay.
How would you feel if you received this present?
I mean, if I received it, I would use it, obviously. I mean, I feel like that's a podcast episode, but also, would I put it on my Christmas list? I don't know, because I feel like I buy craft beers because I want to taste what the brewer intended me to taste rather than fiddling around with it. If you're going to fiddle around with it, then you want something that's kind of like a bit more boring.
Like an orange peel.
What's up?
Like if you're going to put an orange peel into something.
Right, there's a very, you're going to end up buying very basic beer that you can then jazz up. I mean,
that could be fun though.
That
jazzing up. I feel like jazzing up the boring beer would be the fun part. But completely, that's what my thought process was as well. It's like, well, they've brewed the beer to be a particular way, and as I think that whole like turn your stout into a peppermint mocha inspired beer, or add orange peel, one or the other. I feel like that lends itself better to more of the like run-of-the-mill macro beers, because you can play around with it a lot more, whereas like you don't want to just turn a craft stout that's been made in a particular way and then be like, I guess I'll just throw some peppermint mocha in.
Right, exactly.
Like,
I mean, maybe not for craft beer lovers per se, home brewers.
Yes,
who want to play around with flavours and then be like, okay, these flavours work together. How do I brew that myself? That would be a useful thing. I think your general craft beer lover, maybe not so much.
But then I think the downside is if you're doing it from a homebrew perspective, like reality is, are you ever going to get to a point where you could go, those flavours taste really good together, let me brew that and actually be able to brew that? It's like, obviously we're talking about, I love that we're debating over something that's like
doesn't even
never going to exist. There's no way. But also, I think like that would be something that even as a home brewer, you probably like, would you then consider that cheating if you've served somebody a beer that you've gone, oh, I've made this, but then actually the full flavor of like the peppermint mocha didn't come from you brewing it? That's just another thing that
I don't think you do that. I think you just use it to test out flavours together and then be like, okay, I like those flavours together in beer. Can I make that into an actual beer? Like, it's more of a kind of a flavour training type tool.
I feel like I'd want that more for like cocktails or something like that. Like I would want like a spirits. Like, because I feel it's weird though, isn't it? Because I feel like I'd be okay with messing with like a distilled product that somebody has made, as opposed to like a beer. Like in my brain, I'm like, oh no, I could definitely take some gin and infuse it. They're infusing stuff all the time. It's fine. Whereas like with a beer, I'm like, oh no, I simply couldn't. But I bet that gin maker probably wouldn't be happy with me doing that.
I feel like spirits, you expect to mix spirits together, like, spirits go in cocktails, so yes, you can drink it as it is, but there is that element where it is going to end up, it could potentially be used in cocktails, and that's mixing things up and changing the flavors. So I think there's more of that in spirits than there are in beers.
I mean, I do think I would be really annoyed though if I got this really cool gadget and then the thing that I could do with it is just add fresh orange peel. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Just pick it up and put it in the glass.
It is really funny that they chose like a really, like, for example, turn a stout into a peppermint mocha inspired beer, or add fresh orange peel to an IPA, as if that was like, whoa.
Hold the phone. I've never thought of that. Never.
It's almost like they don't even have beers. That is their shtick. Like that. Could you imagine? Bold.
I mean, I don't know if I've told you, but I was, I was listening in on a tour at a particular Scottish brewery, and I was informed on that tour that all Oregon hops taste like citrus. So
all of them.
All of them.
Excellent.
Every single one. So So, I feel like somebody might have thought of that.
Well, if that one wasn't your bag.
It was a macro brewery. I'm just putting that macro Scottish brewery. Don't be putting that on any of the craft breweries in Scotland. True. We love them all. This was a macro brewery.
Yeah, and then you ended up being like, I have to leave before I interject.
I have to go now before I tell you where you're wrong.
Oh, it's the stuff that you were like, and then they said this, and then you're like, I have to leave now. Okay, if that wasn't your bag, what about number 2?
Okay.
It's called the Hoppy Buddy, the Smart Beer Tracker. What is it? It's a digital beer journal and inventory manager that syncs with an app. It tracks a user's beer collection at home, recommends food pairings, and even alerts them when limited release beers are available locally. Why is it cool? It keeps track of beer stock while helping beer fans explore new styles and breweries. Perfect for collectors who need to manage their aging cellar or avoid accidental repurchase. That hit really close to home.
How dare you?
I feel seen, and also seen in a bad way. I feel seen, acknowledged, and called out, quite frankly. And the bonus of this is it has a built-in barcode scanner for easy cataloging and a beer sharing mode for exchanging lists with friends. I'm holding off what I'm saying. Think about it as like your Pokedex for beer. How do you feel about if you received your beer Pokedex?
I mean, I would use this. I mean, it would probably take me a couple of days to get it all in order, but I would use this. Like, currently I'm using a spreadsheet that I have to go through and clear. Like, if there's an app that just did it. The one thing I have found about apps like this, though, is that because I've used a variety of different beer related apps over the years, I often find that you just get into one and you'll get it all in there and you're working away, and then it never gets updated ever again and stops working. So, you could get really into this and it'd be really useful, and then they stop using it. That's always my
Or it's
concern.
one update fucks it all up, or you got to pay
thing
once you're over a set value, or whatever.
And it costs a fortune every year. So there are pitfalls, but it sounds like it would be very useful. I don't like the way it's calling me out, though. That's rude.
Yeah, I feel seen, heard, and called out. And the thing is, I actually I like the idea of the digital journal, to be honest. And if you could then just kind of use that as a method also to like replace Untapped, so I could kind of get like the same stuff out of Untapped, but on a more personal level, where I know I'm not worrying about impacting the brewery as well. Of like, oh, if this to me this is what I need to know for future me if I want to try it again or not try it again, even if the beer itself is like fine, I want to be able to rate things and do things based on my personal preference and not worry about like the implications that it has. And so I think even like having that as a built-in mechanism as well, like it, for me, it would be like a personal Untapped, but better. I think this for me sounds better than all that. And I really like the idea that it would be, you could share it with friends. You could be like, oh, we want to do a bottle share list, and maybe have it like kind of go, here's the things that maybe what your style preferences are like comparatively, and therefore these are the most optimal beers for you to share with that group of friends. Or I think the idea of the recommending food pairings and stuff as well is cool, because at the moment I'd have to be like, if I want to do something that's like pairing, I have to be like, okay, what do I actually have in my cupboards? What do I want to drink? What, and you've really got to plan it more in advance, whereas this would make it easier to plan it in advance, because I could be like, these are things that I need to buy on my shopping list next in order to enjoy these particular beers. So I think I'm personally fully in. If I were a dragon and someone presented this to me, I'd be like, yeah, I'm in.
Why is nobody developing this already?
Because no one wants to rival Untapped. Like, that's the thing. Nobody wants to rival Untapped.
This is a side quest to Untapped, because this is about managing your stash.
But I don't feel like people... if you have an app that's like developed about managing your stash, I feel like people will then be like, well, you should just be drinking it. And like, yes, of course you should just be drinking it. Like, I get
you can guarantee there's a wine app that does this.
100%.
Right, so why do we not consider that fine for beer then?
I just think, like, I imagine there will be some level of people, but Untapped does all these things that I I don't care about these other elements. Untapped does all the things that I need it to do, and it's got that bigger recognition, and then I can do a year in review of Untapped or whatever.
I mean,
I want someone to rival it.
on Untapped because I had a beer journal app which I've been keeping in my notes in, and that was just for me, and it stopped updating, and then I couldn't get the information off of it, and that is how I ended up finding Untapped and using it, because that app had stopped working, and why I ended up on there. But and here we are, still 12 years later. But it's I think if someone made this app, we would all
100%
use it.
I would use it way more than Untapped.
If the fees for it were reasonable, I would also probably invest in it. I'm just saying.
You're like, in case anybody's interested.
In case anybody wants to do it, like I would pay an annual subscription for this bad boy. Like
that's it. Because I think the reason why like I couldn't just go out and JFDI something like this tomorrow would be because of what you would need. What Untapped has is it has that back catalogue. So therefore, like if you were starting something brand new, you'd have to like from scratch start like cataloging all these. And I guess is part of it, like, are you happy with just the inventory manager and somehow working out how the food pairings would work and stuff like that? Like, if you're happy with not having the ability to scan the barcode like it had mentioned, and you're happy just entering all the stuff in yourself, you could go and create something like, I mean, if you have to have some level of tech knowledge, but I think with the people that I know, I could go and I could create that if it was something that I could type in the information that I needed. Is that then exactly the same app? No, it's not. Like, because realistically, you've got to be able to have that back catalogue that you can pull from to go, yeah, okay, here's everything that somebody could potentially have, and then anything that's not there would be new added. But I 100% would. I would probably pay a cheaper price for the ability to have like unlimited collection captured and stuff. It makes it a lot easier as well for like, with that sharing aspect of it, of like the stuff that I am aging. Like, I have these bottles that I brought back from Brussels when I went, that I was like, well, this is not something I'm going to be drinking right away. This is definitely like an aging beer. But what, I kind of forgot about them. I tucked them away someplace where they would be temperature safe and everything else. And then I kind of forgot the whole list of everything that I had taken back. And like, I think that would be really good to go, actually, I'm going to a bottle share. What could be a really, really good one? What's a bigger size? Like, you could select by the size of bottle to go, I want to pull up my 750 mils or anything above, 440 mil. I want to pull those up and I want to see what I've got available and what is the ones that are more recommended for sharing.
I could do with labels as well, because I'd like to label it as this is a podcast beer, because I'm pretty sure at the weekend I drank something we were saving.
Tags. That's it. We just need a tag functionality.
And I drank it and I'm like, I think we were saving that for something, but it's probably too late now. Oh well. It was double-barreled passion fruit martini.
No, it's fine.
Okay, good. I was like, oh, we might have been saving this for a cocktail episode. Too late now, I drank it.
It's one of those ones that I think we probably got it for a podcast episode and then just didn't have enough time to actually record the episode. I'd rather you just drink it.
But tags, so that I can be like, this is a podcast beer, don't drink it, would be really useful.
Yeah, I mean, that is how I tag things on my own spreadsheet. But again,
same.
Like, I use Google, so it's useful because I've got the ability to call up my drive stuff, but it's not as user-friendly on a mobile app. So I would love an actual specific mobile app, and I literally would migrate away from Untapped if I could also get it to like collate the stats at the end of the year and stuff like that. Would be brilliant. But okay, so we're both on board for this one, I think.
The Dragons accept that proposal.
The Dragons accept this one. Okay, cool. Number 3, the Froth Forge custom foam printer. So what is it? It's a small gadget that uses edible ink to print images or designs on beer foam. Users can upload custom designs, logos, or text via an app to personalize their beer at home. Why is it cool? Adds a personal touch to every pour, whether it's for parties, themed nights, or just enjoying a creative beer experience. Imagine sipping on a stout with a snowflake or holiday message floating in the foam. And the bonus is that it includes seasonal design packs like Christmas trees, snowmen, or beer memes. Beer memes. What, like, I want to know what in their mind they're like, oh yeah, beer memes. What is that? What does that mean?
They are mining username with beer in its Instagram.
And putting those on the phone.
Those on phone.
What are your thoughts around this?
I mean, Guinness already does this.
You do have to go to the one location.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to go to where it's being done, but how often would I actually use this?
Personally, probably, I would not. I'm going to be honest.
Probably not that often.
And also, that requires you having like clean glassware. Like, can you imagine? Glassware. You're like, by the time it's done printing,
to have a good head on it, it's got to print it. Like, I just want to drink it, man.
By the time it's done like printing, you're like, there's no foam left.
No, I can see it as like a fun thing to have at parties. Like, I could see somebody, having one and renting it out, like a photo booth.
Yeah. I was just thinking renting it out. Yeah.
Right, but just to have one in my house, nah.
That's cool. I also went with no. So dragons reject that.
Reject that.
Number 4, the Hopsicle Maker beer popsicle molds. It's a set of molds designed specifically for making frozen beer popsicles. They come with insulated sleeves to keep the pops cold while eating to avoid spilling melted beer. Why is it cool? It's great for hot summer days or pairing dessert beers with ice cream. The kit includes recipes for creating beer-based frozen treats like a porter and vanilla bean popsicle or a citrus IPA sorbet. And the bonus is it comes with mix and match flavoring kits to create unique combinations.
Again, we're changing the flavour of the beer itself, which I don't feel is necessary.
I can't believe that's your thing that you're...
Wait, that was the first thing. Wait. Also, you can just buy a popsicle mould and you can get the insulated popsicle holder jobs anywhere. Like, mate, I can make this up myself.
Well, that's why I was laughing, because like out of everything, the first thing you called out was like, well, we're changing the beer.
Well, no, that was the last thing, because I was like, why are you fixated on making everything citrus, my dude? Like,
I think for me it was like the first and foremost, I was like, this is just a popsicle mold.
I can make that. I can get that in Poundland. What?
This was not innovative and creative. No. So the dragons are like, no, we wouldn't make any money. There's no point in investing. And then number 5, the last one, which is called Stein and Sip, portable beer warmer / cooler. So it's a high-tech beer stein with built-in temperature control. Users can set their preferred beer temperature, whether they want a lager ice cold or a mulled beer warm for the holidays. There we go. Why is it cool? Keeps beer at the ideal temperature for hours, making it perfect for outdoor events or long game nights. The warmer mode is great for experimenting with spiced, heated winter ales. And the bonus is it doubles as a mug for coffee or hot chocolate, making it a versatile year-round gift.
No. Don't be putting anything that's got dairy in it in the same glass as my beer. Don't care you clean it. There's still going to be residue and stuff in there. Don't do that. Also, I'm assuming that there's going to be like some form of, wiring and stuff around it. So it's not going to be clear. So I'm not going to be able to see my beer through it. No.
That's a good point. But I guess you could have it still be clear, because it could be
underneath
the heating element or a cooling element on the bottom.
Nah, I'm not into it.
Just immediately no.
Like, it might be fun to mull a beer in it. Cool. But, I don't just have your beer in the right temperature in the fridge. Like, it's not that important.
There we go. Well, that's the 5 ideas that
someone needs to make that beer app. That's
what I've got out of those ideas is that really out of all of them, the app is the one that we've got the most calling for.
Yes,
I would be interested to see if anybody else listening to this kind of agrees that if they were like, yeah, actually, I would very much use an app like that. Even if you don't have a big stash, I feel like it's still really useful for what it can do. I'm talking about it like it's like a real thing that's on the cards, but like what it's suggesting it could do. Like, I would love it if it was like you could select what was suggested in terms of like snacks, like bar snacks or proper food. But I think it'd be really good to be able to be like, cool, I want to select if I want like a snack, a meal, or something sweet.
Yeah.
And then you could kind of be like, what are the pairings broken down by like appetite? Like, is it an appetite? Is it a starter? Is it a main? Is it a pud?
By this time next year, Tori will be partially through developing this app.
I will have gotten my
be like sitting away in her brain, and she's going to have handed it out to some of her tech people, and we'll be halfway through developing it.
What this time next year, 2025? Look out for this app.
Alternatively, am I wrong? And should we all be really thinking about having warming mugs for our beers, or cooling mugs? I don't know. I think that's a terrible idea. But tell me if I'm wrong, listeners. Let us know.
I mean, I that one I was a bit like, I feel like we've already got things that do similar as well. We have things that do similar, and I didn't feel a strong enough pull to anything else. The popsicle was probably the one that I felt the most outrageous about, because I was like, that's literally already exists. That's not even complicated.
You're just branding something.
Why would I want
exists? That? Lame.
I don't want that, and I don't want that at all.
No.
Like, no. I would say the app's definitely the most wanted. The beer infusion one, I think that's the one that I'm just like, I love the concept, but I feel like that defeats the whole purpose of craft beer.
Yeah.
So a bit 100%. Like, maybe not. And then the custom foam printer, I was thinking the exact thing as you. I was like, that's like a party gimmick.
That needs to be a B2B, not a B2C.
Yeah.
Sell.
Yeah,
you need to be selling that to businesses,
not to consumers. This is the wrong platform.
Yeah, sounds about that.
ChatGPT. So yeah, there you have it. That is that.
All right. Shall we move on to our next beer?
Yes, we shall.
All right. So we have got the Holy Goat Plum Porter in a wonderful, wonderful can, as always, from lovely Holy Goat.
As always, indeed.
So we picked this one because you said you've never had the Plum Porter.
I don't think
the
I have.
Plum Porter.
No, yeah. I've never had the Plum Porter.
Titanic Plum Porter.
Yes.
After we bought this, literally the other week, I was in the Pegasus in Canterbury, which is one of our only real craft beer bars.
It's a really cool bar as well.
It's a cool bar. They have got rid of some of the cinema seats though, because they were breaking. So they've only got one row.
But that's the super cool feature. They
had to get rid of them, and they keep moving all the furniture around because they haven't quite got everything where they want it since they changed things about. So they had Plum Porter Grand Reserve on.
Oh,
and I was like, I have had it before, quite some time ago. So I was like, I'll have a half or a third of that. It wasn't as good as I remember it. I don't know if it's because it's the Grand Reserve version rather than the main version, but I have heard about Titanic Plum Porter, which is out this time of year, and was quite popular. I think with certain people it is still quite popular. It used to be quite good. I mean, I had it back in the day and it's quite nice. It's possible that the quality isn't quite as good because they make, because they've upped the scale, so it's not quite as good anymore. It might just be that, palates have developed over time now. I had the Grand Reserve, as I said the other day. It was a bit perfumey.
Oh,
yeah, it was quite like the plum element of it was a lot. It didn't feel like fruit. It felt like flavouring. So I don't know, but I'm sure the Holy Goat version is going to be wonderful.
Yeah, the problem is I don't have
to compare. You can't compare.
I don't have anything to compare it to.
So
this is my. I'll just be like, I like it. I don't like it.
I'll do the comparison for us. Although I've not had a regular plum porter in a while. I did also have St. Peter's used to do a plum porter as well. That one was all right. It wasn't as good as the Titanic one, as I remember back in the day. I haven't had any of these recently, other than the Grand Reserve, which, as I said, was a bit perfumey, fragrant.
I did think about could we get a Titanic Plum Porter to try? But then I was just like, I don't have enough time and brain space to work this out, so I'm not gonna do that. The craft one instead. So yeah, we just this is the one. This is the one and only. And I don't really need anything else other than Holy Goat, to be honest.
No.
I just want to know, I feel like it's so popular at this time of year, and I just don't. I don't know. I guess I see people talk about it all the time in certain groups and stuff, but it's the time of year, and I'm like, I don't really understand the significance. Is it just because it's it's a dark beer?
It's got plum in it. Yeah, it's got I think that's quite a, like it's a darker fruit. So it's kind of like, like Christmas puddings and fruit cake and things like that. It's those kind of flavours.
I'm the wrong audience though, because like I hate fruitcake.
I know you hate
and like
that.
I don't even just necessarily eat plums, and I've never associated plums with Christmas, so it's kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think plums per se. I think it's just that kind of dark and rich fruitiness is a more winter staple, maybe.
It smells like an American Tootsie Pop to me, sort of, a little bit.
Oh, there is a kind of a
like a Tootsie Roll.
And there's a bit of chocolate in there.
So I think like the Tootsie Roll element is that like chocolatiness.
I'm not getting a lot of plum, but...
No, I don't really get a lot of fruit. But
I honestly say that I can remember what a plum really smells like.
Well, I was going to say, if somebody said to me, like, what does a plum smell like? I don't think I could say. Yeah. So I don't think me being like, I can't smell the plum, really.
Right, exactly. Needs more barrel.
Yeah, it needs more plum. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell, but it smells nice.
It does smell nice. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
There's quite a nice bit of like dark chocolate in there.
I do feel like I've now got like Tootsie Roll in my brain, so maybe that. So I'm just thinking that like of a Tootsie Roll, which is chocolate. It is chocolatey. It's like a chewy, chocolatey, like taffy type thing.
Tootsie Rolls are weird.
They are weird. Like, yeah, I don't really. That's the thing is, I don't really know how to describe a Tootsie Roll. It's like it's chocolate and it's sort of like taffy, but it's like not. It's
weird.
It's weird. But like I feel like that chocolatey type.
It's like a chewy sweet, but it's flavoured chocolate, and it's weird.
Yeah, which is you don't expect that. It's like a Mauem, but it's like a rolled up Mauem, but chocolate.
But chocolate, and it was I was not a fan.
I don't know. I think that as an American, I don't know. I think you just get used to what they taste like, and you just go, oh, that's all right.
You don't know any better. We know.
Yeah, but I also think like you don't think about how other people don't know what Tootsie Rolls are and what Tootsie Rolls taste like. But that's in my brain now, so I think that's how the chocolate's landing. But it's not yet.
It's quite chocolatey, like dark chocolate. There's a bit of a roastiness in the back. There's a little bit of fruitiness that stops the bitterness from being too much in there. It's nice.
I definitely get the fruitiness like towards the back end and like that lingering taste. It is like mainly that chocolate and roastiness, which is really, really nice on the initial part of the sip. And then like it's quite thinner mouthfeel, which I quite like. I like that for this flavour because I think if it was too thick, it would just be...
It's not too rich, is it?
No, it's the right balance for me.
6%, mind.
Oh, is it? Shit.
Yeah.
For some reason in my brain I had it that it was like a 4.8 or a 5.3 or something like that, and I never questioned it. I really like the labels. I just love all the like look at that. I mean, side.
I know it is gorgeous. Yeah, there's like skulls and
it reminds me of Mortal Kombat. And... the side reminds me of a Mortal Kombat thing.
yes. And it's got a guitar on the front and a Holy Goat speaker.
I would love to know what's inspired the artwork for this, though, because obviously this is so drastically different to, like, even when you think of, like, Plum Porter and you think of, like, Titanic Plum Porter, like, it's so drastically different in terms of label to that it makes me think of, like, what was the inspiration for why the label is a guitar and an amp? So that would be really interesting to know.
I think the plum itself is quite subtle, but there is, like, a nice... Tartness isn't the right word because it's not like
I was thinking the same thing.
Do you know what I mean?
It's not how to explain
but
it.
But there is and it's not a twang either. It's kind of a tartness. No, it's not really a tartness, not really a twang. But there is a fruit element there that stops any of this from being cloying or too rich. Like, it's very drinkable.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to phrase it as well because I was going to say tart, but I was like, tart's not really the right phrase. But it is more like
a hint.
it's fruity, but it's not like dried fruit or anything like that. It's not like when you have some of these type of flavor combination, like when you put a fruity flavor in a porter and a stout and darker beers, it tends to be more of like that dried fruit. This isn't. This is like more of fruit, like a plum. And I think there is that natural, it's not a tartness, but I think it is that like, it's not even bitterness. Like, I don't even know how, like, I can't think, it's a word that you just have to just taste.
Like a like a little bit of jamminess about it.
Ish. But still, like, it's not sweet. Like,
No,
it's not a
sweet
fruitiness. It's not a nectar. No. It's not like a fruit nectar. It's just...
I don't know how to describe it. You just have to drink it, listen.
When you do have plums, you do get a little bit of tartness with a plum. So I think it is just kind of that, like, tart doesn't feel like the right word, but it does feel like the right word.
I think there's just lots of elements playing on in here that are all balanced really nicely. And so nothing in itself is screaming at you in the flavours. No. Like, it's all just there and it's all just kind of running along quite nicely. And each time you drink it, like, something else kind of pops up. So it's very complex, but it's all just nicely aligned. And things will just kind of, as you're sipping away, oh, this bit's going to, now I'm getting the chocolatey notes and now I'm getting the roasty notes and getting a little bit of that plum. Like, it's all just nicely kind of popping its head up and saying hello.
Yeah.
None of it is shouting at you. It's all just kind of nicely giving you a little wave from across the room.
Coffee roastiness is just like lingering so nicely that like when I've just like had to breathe out, I was like, oh my God, it tastes like roasty coffee. Beautiful. Just really nice coffee. That is what's it's. And I think actually, to be fair, like when you have some some really nice coffees and stuff as well, like, Plum is one of those flavors that you can, and fruity notes that you can get in some of that. So it works really well together, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, some would say.
Oh,
do we have some fun facts?
Fun? Yeah, fun facts. What are the fun facts about?
We do. Well, I tried to find fun facts that were related to beer at Christmas and Christmas traditions relating to beer. And by the end of it, it dissipated. It was just fun facts that I wanted to talk about. So, I'll kick things off with the fun facts that are beer related. So, advent calendars were originally made in, actual printed advent calendars. So the first advent calendars originated in Germany in the 1800s, and those started with chalk marks that were made on doors and lighting candles, and that's where they think that the whole connection to sort of like doors on advent calendars came from, was that tradition. The first printed advent calendar was thought to have been made in the 1900s. It was credited to Gerhard Lang. It suggested, this search of mine suggested that the first beer advent calendars also originated in Germany, but I have found no evidence about that. Right. So that's so basically what started as like the first beer advent calendars were, I didn't even search for this, it was just, it came up as one of the suggestions. The first beer advent calendar was created in Germany and now everyone else follows suit. And I was like, I don't know if that's factually correct though. So I was Googling and it was like, no, the first advent calendar was made in Germany. And I was like, okay, cool. I've never actually talked about the first beer advent calendar. So I was like, cool.
Brilliant.
So that's fact number one. ChatGPT would have you believe that the oldest holiday beer traditions trace back to Belgium. So it's where the Belgian brewers were inspired by monastic brewing, and they would craft rich, complex ales for the holiday season, which this obviously includes Delirium's Noel and St. Bernardus's Christmas Ale. However, fact checked, Googled, and what I found was actually so much more interesting than that. I've got a link that to an article that I've pulled some of this information from to share, which is basically, when I Googled, I found this article from a website called City Brew Tours, and it's basically saying the earliest mention of holiday ales actually by the Vikings in pre-Christian Scandinavia. So as they were settling into these Christian lands, they were adapting Christian traditions and they would merge them effectively with their own. So one of those traditions was that they would offer a beer, typically a deep malty one to Odin on the 21st of December as part of their Yule celebrations. Eventually, the festival that was dedicated to Odin became dedicated to Jesus's birth instead, as they merged more and more with those societies and cultures. But the beer offering apparently remained a part of that tradition regardless. So I thought that was really interesting. And I found a few articles that talked about the history of Vikings with holiday beer and it being the first mention of holiday beer. So I thought
I do drink a special beer on Yule.
It was just really cool. So I thought I would share that. And there's a link that I'll put in our thing that you can share that will also talk more about the history of that. Because I just basically gave you like the 30-second summary of that. So some countries leave out. So over here in the UK, what do kids leave out for Father Christmas?
Mince pie, maybe a cookie.
Okay.
A glass of milk. We used to leave out a glass of Coke.
Okay.
Kids of the 80s. And you have to leave out a carrot for Rudolph.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah.
So in the US, it's milk and cookies is the standard. I did actually have a question about that, but park the question for a minute. So some countries, they leave out beer for Santa / Father Christmas, whatever you want to call him. So the first one that came up was Ireland. It said this includes Ireland. It was where I was initially told that they leave a glass of Guinness out for Santa.
I was going to say, it's got to be a Guinness, isn't it?
Well, I was a little bit like, that seems vaguely racist. So I was like, let me validate that, because that doesn't feel all quite that right. So I went to go validate it, and I mean, it does indeed seem like it's not entirely bullshit. So Guinness isn't mandatory. So it was saying like some places regionally, like, down south in Cork, they would leave out a bottle of Murphy's Stout. Other people are like, well, it could just be some families. It all depends on the families. Some of them leave out Coke or coffee or
depends
water.
on what Santa
the drink,
wants to
Coca-Cola.
drink. It depends on what Father Christmas wants to drink.
Yes, and some of them it's like, holidays are coming, Coca-Cola. Let me clarify that they're not leaving anything else like wild out there. So it was just like some of them were like water or whatever. And somebody had written in a Reddit thread that was like, asking if Guinness was left out is like basically saying, do you leave out milk and cookies? Like, some people do, but not everyone does. Like, that's and so I was like, yeah, okay, so my inkling that it was vaguely racist is a little bit not wrong, but it's also not entirely not wrong. So
we used to leave a saucepan of water out for Rudolph as well, because Rudolph gets thirsty too.
Of course, yeah. I mean, of course he will. It's a long trek. But in Australia, apparently, according to my research, I also uncovered that in Australia, because it's summertime there, Santa, alongside his cookies, wants a cold beer. So they also leave out a nice cold beer for Santa, because the weather there dictates that's what they want. So supposedly in France they leave out wine, but this was completely unfounded by what
also
I
sounds
found.
Racist.
Yeah, I was like, that sort of.
Do they also leave out cheese?
No, it was cookies. It was cookies.
Okay.
So they didn't go full racism. They just went partially.
Or croissants.
Arguably that was worse. That was worse, because the cheese probably would have paired better with the wine. So at least I would have felt like, okay, fine.
Father Christmas is not worrying about food pairings. He's busy. He needs to rehydrate and get something in him to keep him going.
Not
he
sure
just
that's
needs the energy.
Not sure that's all going to rehydrate, but that's okay. But I couldn't find anything that actually said this was like the done deal. And apparently, though, this is validated. German kids, you'd be like, maybe they leave out beer for Father Christmas. They do not. They leave out letters. They don't leave out any food or drinks at all. They leave letters for Santa / Father Christmas. My question was, it told me that British kids leave out sherry and mince pie. And I was like, is that factually correct?
I mean, mince pie, yes. You probably could leave out sherry. We didn't have sherry in our house, so we didn't leave out sherry. We used to put out Coca-Cola.
Fair. I'm glad you specified this time.
Because Father Christmas liked Coca-Cola.
I mean, who doesn't? I'd preference to a Diet Coke, but...
And then a carrot and a saucepan of water down the bottom of the garden for Rudolph.
Oh, nice. Did you leave the carrot outside?
Yeah, you had to leave it outside because Rudolph's not coming in the house. Rudolph's not coming in the house.
Yeah, but Santa takes it out to him.
That's a lot. Like, he has to come in, so he has to go out. But he was having water out of the saucepan, so we had to have it outside, so he hasn't got to bring the saucepan back in.
Yeah. So you know.
No, you leave it at the bottom of the garden because that's where Rudolph is. Although always only for Rudolph. Never mind the rest of them.
It's true. We also only left stuff out for Rudolph, which I kind of feel bad. For the rest of the reindeers. No wonder they bullied him. Right? No wonder they bullied that guy. Right. They were like, hate him. Too popular.
Always gets all the carrots.
So the next one, I'm going to definitely butcher pronunciations on this, but it's because it's really hard to pronounce, and I don't think anyone will fault me for this. I'm just going to do it the way that I think that it's said. So, Icelandic breweries, for Christmas, they release beers that are what I think I'd pronounce as Julebjörn.
Yeah, sounds good.
Not sure if I've said that right. Really hard. Couldn't even find a pronunciation when I Googled. So to the one guy that's going to comment and mark me down points for that, I've Googled a lot. I Googled about 10 minutes worth. Couldn't find anything. Gave up.
I think we've weeded all of them out now.
Well, yeah, we'll see. They are typically dense lagers of a darker colour with notes of caramel and coffee. Ooh. And they're made by fermenting at a low temperature. So some have been said to have been made with the inspiration of traditional Christmas dinners, which include smoked leg of lamb, peas, red cabbage, and caramelised potatoes. That sounds...
Caramelised potatoes?
Caramelised potatoes. That sounds amazing to me. The reason I'm telling you all this is not because I want to tell you anything that has to do with beer-related traditions. It's because I wanted to tell you about the Yule Lads.
The Yule Lads?
The Yule Lads.
I know there's a Yule Cat.
No, I mean, there is, apparently. And if you don't accept clothing, it'll eat you or something like that.
The cat will eat you. I know that the Yule Cat, you've got to be careful because the Yule Cat will eat you.
Horrific, though. That is like if you don't accept boring clothing...
Yeah.
The Yule Cat's coming for you.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Get in line.
Absolutely terrifying. Yeah, but first you've got to beat out the Yule Lads.
Okay.
So, absolutely excellent. Brilliant marketing name, really. So they're 13 mischievous trolls who visit children one by one from the 12th until the 24th of December. And they are used to scare children into behaving. I can't validate whether or not this scare tactic is just scare tactic or if it is like the Yule Cat and they will eat you or whatever else. But they will leave small gifts and shoes for good kids, or if you're a naughty child, you will get rotten potatoes, which who wants a rotten potato?
That's even worse than coal.
Yeah,
at least
leave me the coal.
Useful.
I can draw photos on things, all that. The also thing that I'm not going to do is pronounce the 7 names or the 13 or whatever, however many names they've given me here.
13.
Yeah, but I don't think they've given me 13 names.
Snow White's dwarves.
No, it's because they only gave me 8 names. Only 8 of them were mentioned.
Have names?
I don't know. There's only 8 that came up on this list that I found. And I'm not going to tell you their actual names because, again, I tried Googling how to pronounce and it was very, very difficult. But the first one that's mentioned is also known as Sheepcoat Clod. He has wooden legs and he likes to tease sheep.
Okay. All right.
Don't know what kind of teasing of the sheep. I'm hoping it's maybe bullying. I don't know. I hope there's consent.
Tipping.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, no.
Pushing them over.
Oh, that's arguably kind of funny to think about, but also not because it is really mean.
Yeah.
That's without a shepherd there to pick them back up. They will just get stuck. And that is partially what I do kind of think it's slightly funny in the fact that they would just get stuck there. Whereas like a dog would just roll over and be like, I'll just get up again. The shepherd does need to be there to help them. Oh, I hope that's not it. I'd feel really sad. The second one mentioned is known as Gullygok. He likes to steal milk.
Oh.
The third one's known as Stubby. He's, by no surprise, he's the shortest of the Yule Lads, and he likes to eat pie crust that he steals from pans.
Oh.
I feel like I really relate to Stubby.
I was gonna
say. He's just here for the banter. He just wants the pie crust.
Just wants the pie crust.
Love a good pie crust. There's another one that's known as Spoon Licker. He is thin because he prefers to lick spoons instead of eating food.
Okay.
Do not relate to that one. Again, no. I will reiterate, I very much vibe with Stubby. There's another one known as pot scraper. He hates food waste.
Oh.
And he likes to eat what sticks to the sides and the bottom of the pots. I feel like that one
seems useful.
He sounds like a good guy.
Yeah.
He's not even doing anything trolling. He's just like, I really hate food waste.
I hate food waste, and I'm going to clean your pots and pans for you. Thank you.
I'm sure that there's probably something to it where it's like, if you're a child that doesn't eat your food, he will eat you or something like that. I don't know. But that's that one. Then you've got bowl licker. He's known for stealing wooden bowls. Not even licking them. He's just known for stealing the bowls.
I haven't got any wooden bowls, so that's okay.
Yeah. There's one that's known as door slammer, which there is no further clarification. I'm guessing he just slams doors. Wouldn't it be funny though if it's like actually he leaves them open? Because that's way more annoying. And then they slam shut on their own by the wind because he's left them open. And then the last one that's mentioned is also known as scare gobbler. He likes scare.
The yogurt?
Yeah, I don't know. That was what came into my brain as well. It's like, does he really like Icelandic yogurt?
I mean, there's one that really likes milk and one that really likes yogurt. Like,
yeah, but surely that's. I mean, is that the Icelandic name for yogurt, or is that just the brand name? I don't. So yeah, those were all the like beer, all the ones that I could vaguely make beer related, but then there were a few that were not beer related that made me laugh. So in Norway, there's the headline here. So this has come from Wanderlust magazine, so I'll share that with you so you can share if people want to read it themselves. It says, hide your brooms. Norwegians believe that Christmas Eve coincides with the arrival of evil spirits and witches. It is only logical then that Norwegian householders hide all their brooms before they go to sleep. Because after all, nothing spoils Christmas quicker than finding your broom in broken pieces at the foot of a tree crashed by some joyriding witch, which I feel like bit rude.
Rude.
Bit of also, a rude stereotype.
Why have the witches not got their own brooms? Why do they need yours?
I also think about Hocus Pocus and be like, what if one of them is riding a Hoover?
Right, exactly.
Another one from Venezuela is in the weeks leading up to Christmas, Venezuelans attend a daily church service called Misa de Aguinaldo, early morning mass. And in the capital of Caracas, it is customary to travel to the church service on roller skates.
Oh.
And it is widespread in practice. It's so widespread in practice that many roads in the capital are closed until 8 a.m. to provide Christmas worshippers safe passage.
Nice.
There's another one from Catalonia, Spain, that just says pooping their way through Christmas. This was the one I really wanted to talk about. So
are we having a South Park moment here?
They've got a tradition. No, not at all. So they've got a tradition of cagatillo, or defecating log. And that is that locals in Catalonia create a character out of a log. They draw a face on it and they give it a hat. Then they spend a fortnight feeding it fruit, nuts, and sweets. On Christmas Eve, the entire family beats the log with sticks and sings traditional songs that translates to, if you don't crap well, I'll beat you with a stick, until the log excretes all its treats. It's hard to comprehend why this tradition hasn't caught on elsewhere. They also decorate their nativity scenes with small pooping ceramic figurines, usually well-known characters, often drawn from the New Year's. The figurines always have their pants around their ankles.
This sounds like a Mr. Hanky pinata.
I literally, looking at this photo, I'm like, I don't understand how they beat it with a stick. It looks sort of like a Colin log with legs and a face drawn on it and a Santa hat. But I'm like, where do all the things you feed it go? I don't understand. You gotta
knock it so it comes back out. I mean, there must be a hole in it.
There isn't. Knock it. There isn't. Not that I can see in this photo. I mean, this could also be grade A bullshit. Because I didn't fact check this because I didn't want. If I'm being honest, I didn't want to fact check it. Yeah, because it made me laugh. And no, ChatGPT didn't give me this. This was a news article.
Oh, this was a news article.
Yeah, this is a news article.
Interesting.
And I just thought it made me laugh too hard that I didn't want to know the truth. So yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, in the Ukraine, I thought you'd like that one. In the Ukraine, they deck the halls with spider webs. So in addition to standard tinsel, fairy lights, and bubbles, Ukrainians like to throw an artificial spider and a web on the tree as well. And the tradition has origins in an old tale of a poor woman who couldn't afford to decorate her tree and woke up on Christmas morning to discover a spider had covered it in glorious sparkling web.
Oh,
So it's
like
for good luck and not about poor housekeeping.
So there.
So yeah, I think, I should have ended with the poop one. That was way better.
Yeah, you should have ended with the poop one. But that was great. I enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. There you go. That was literally, I was like, I just want to tell you about the poop one, if I'm honest. So I left it to last.
I liked it. I mean, I do like to play the South Park Christmas album at Christmas time. So.
Oh, yeah. It is a standard tradition in our household as well. I mean, not here in the UK, but in my US household. Yeah. Swiss Colony beef log, we've talked about it before. I feel like it is a tradition. It is a tradition.
Go back and listen to our other Christmas episodes, which are now available because I've fixed everything.
Hopefully you should see no problems now.
Everything is back. So you should be able to go back and listen to our previous Christmas episodes, and we definitely talk about Swiss Colony beef lug.
100% I know I've talked about Swiss Colony beef lug before. For sure. Oh, and the more that I sit and sip on this, the nicer, the nicer and nicer it becomes as well.
The more the plum comes out as you go along, I think.
Agree. Oh, now I've got Swiss Colony.
Shall we start our third and final beer?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Our third one is Gingerbread Latte from Vault City. This one you can get in the supermarket. We got this from Tesco's. So if you're inclined to buy your craft beer from a supermarket, you can get this one in Tesco's. Other supermarkets are available, but they might not have Vault City.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think any of the other supermarkets have this one in particular. But we thought we'd give one back to the people.
Yeah.
That maybe do their shopping.
Also, it was easier for us to get it from the supermarket.
Yeah. I had one already, and we were trying to find the reality is, I already had it. We were trying to find a third Christmas beer without having to put in a whole separate order in.
Yeah.
And I said, Joe, can you find it at Tesco? And you went, let me go look.
And I did.
And it just shows how accessible it is.
Yes, because I actually managed to find it.
Although a lot of people were not happy because they couldn't find it at theirs, yeah.
I think it smells quite latte-y.
I get less of the gingerbread.
Yeah, same.
Spices.
It's more molassesy.
I'm just getting chocolate and like a little bit of roastiness.
It smells nice though. Right. Cheers.
Cheers. This one is an 11%, and it doesn't really taste like an 11%.
It is danger juice. That does not taste 11%. It is quite nice.
The gingerbread comes out a lot more in the taste than it does in the smell.
Yes.
I don't really get it in the smell. In the taste, it is very gingerbready, less coffee.
I'm just having a look at the ingredients. Brown sugar, ginger powder, cinnamon powder, vanilla, coffee, hops and yeast.
All the best things. All the best things.
Now, I had the churros one of this recently as well.
I feel like I did, but I don't remember when I had it.
That was equally delightful and equally danger juice. Because I think that one was like 12%.
Oh, I had it when I was in Manchester. And it was it was great. I really enjoyed it. I feel like it was, it probably for me felt boozier because it was on, I had it on keg.
Oh, so I shared a bit out of a can. It was lovely, but
But 11%, this doesn't taste 11%.
It does not taste 11%.
It's a weeknight. This is going to be hard.
Yeah, I could drink this down pretty quick. It's nice though. It's a nice balance of flavours. Like the ginger's not too overpowering, but the cinnamon's there to back it up. Coffee's nice. The vanilla's in there, and then you get that brown sugar. It's lovely. Not too syrupy.
It's not too syrupy. It does still have a bit of syrupiness to it, but I wouldn't say that it's not too much so where it's like just cloying and too much. This is one that I feel like I wouldn't really want to like neck by any means.
No.
But it is one that I feel like you're sitting on the sofa, you're watching a holiday film and you want something that's like a little bit festive. Have you seen any of like the recently released cheesy holiday films. Oh, you're gonna be watching the spicy ones, aren't you?
And they are not spicy. Hallmark doesn't do spicy. They're all just,
there is one on Netflix that's about some male review or something like that.
Oh, it's not spicy though.
No, I don't think it is.
I've watched spicy.
It. You were like, "Where's the spice?"
No, Gordon and I enjoy a crappy Christmas film. So anything that's got, it's always the same plot, right? Big city girl goes home to little tiny town, gets snowed in, or saves the Christmas market, or
there's a problem and she's there to fix it,
and she fixes it, and along the way meets a hunky baker / lumberjack / dancer DIY man / whatever other occupation you can think of.
Yeah.
And he loves living in the small town, and they save Christmas together, and then they fall in love, and she never goes back to her career.
She goes back, something has to be fixed. Right. She fixes it, the guy also helps fix it, and then they're like, I guess this is our life now, bye.
Right. Couple of different ones this year. One where a woman met a guy, they got snowed in and couldn't get out of the airport. Oh. So they were both in the airport lounge, and they were chatting to one another, and she was trying to get home to her partner. He was trying to get home. No, he was single, and he managed to get a flight out, and he was like, "Oh, I know you're with somebody, but in a year's time, meet me at this Christmas show that you love going to."
Oh, is it this time next year?
Yes.
I haven't watched it, but that's on my to watch list.
And then and she doesn't think it's going to happen. She breaks up with a guy, doesn't think it's going to happen. But then, and it's the 1 year that she doesn't buy tickets to this show. So she then tries to get tickets to this show so she can find him. As you haven't seen it, I won't tell you I won't spoil it for you, but that was a slightly different one. That was a good one.
Have you seen the Lindsay Lohan one?
Seen the Lindsay Lohan one. That was quite good as well.
I will say, I want to put it out there. She is looking good. She's looking healthy. Yeah. She is looking like she's ready to get back into acting. And was it a cheesy film? Absolutely. But that's what it's for. She really committed to the acting in that. Right. And I felt like it was really good.
It was good.
In the sense of for cheesy Christmas films. And I just wanted to say, I feel like she's making a comeback, and I'm really pleased for her, because child stars really had it rough.
Yes.
And 100%. I feel like, seeing the things that have happened over time with her and stuff, she genuinely does look really healthy. And I was talking about this the other day to someone. I was like, Lindsay Lohan's looking really healthy and really back ready for the game. And I was like, and Macaulay Culkin looks just really healthy and great. And his family's great. His wife is super hot, and she's super talented as well. Their kid's super cute. So I'm like, oh, you go, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah. Have you watched Hot Frosty?
No, because that's one of the ones that I was like, this looks so stupid that genuinely I was like, I don't even know if I can commit to what. It's the girl from Mean Girls. It's the girl from Mean Girls. And I'm like, I can't. I like her, but I just don't know if I can even watch this.
I mean, you've got to please suspend reality. Oh, there's nothing spicy about it. But you got to just suspend reality for a little bit.
It's the cringe. It was more the cringe. I was like, I don't know if I can.
The cringe is the best part. There's a really good point a really good bit in it actually, where the TV's on and one of the Lindsay Lohan Christmas films is playing.
That's excellent.
And she goes, oh, she looks like a girl I went to high school with.
I did. I think I saw that. I think I saw that in the trailer actually. Yeah. I love
all of those. Gordon loves those. We watch all of these. I'm keeping a list this year of ones that we watch. There's a really good one called Holiday Mismatch that's got the aunts from Sabrina in.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that. That's one that I really wanted to watch because I saw the two of them were in a film and I was like, yes, I love them.
And there is one called I Believe in Christmas that's based on a book called Christmas Land.
Okay.
And that one's really good as well.
I normally just, for the Christmas. I like watching the cheesy films, so I tend to just watch, like, especially if there's no named actors in it. I'm like, I need to watch this because that's how you know it's going to be the best type of cringe. I don't want the sexy cringe, so that's like the hot frosty. I was like, I don't know about this.
No,
this
that was funny. It was funny,
but the other ones I was like, yeah, definitely want to watch these. But I feel like traditional wise, I think we've talked about this before. My family watches Christmas Vacation every year, so this year I've got a like Lego. It's a fake Lego house that's meant to look sort of like the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation house. So it's like I'll build that and I'll watch that as part of my little tradition there. And I've been building the Home Alone house, which I mentioned, and so I was like, actually watched Home Alone the other day, and I just want to put out there that I actually genuinely feel really bad for Kevin because they actually treat him horrifically. You forget how awful his whole family is to him. His uncle, the worst. Like, if somebody spoke to my child in front of me the way that uncle spoke to Kevin, I'd be like, bud, you're not going to Paris. You're out. He is so mean.
Yeah. I did also watch, kids one that I can recommend. Arthur Christmas. Very good. Saw that for the first time this year. It's been out for a while, but I only saw it for the first time this year. Very good. Lots of British actors doing the voices. Very, very good. And we did watch Violent Night.
Oh.
Which is on Netflix. That was good, but it is violent.
I mean, yeah. There's the one that's Jack Black's got a new one where he's like, apparently he's Satan and some kids, but he's got to pretend to be Santa. So that's one that I want to watch as well.
I haven't seen the one that's on Amazon Prime yet that's got Vin Diesel in it.
Red one. There was Red one. Rick tried watching it and he said, he was like, yeah, it's just as bad as you think it's going to be.
Great.
But then I think he fell asleep watching it because he was like, he had put it on specifically so that he could fall asleep during whatever he put on. And he's like, it's just as bad as you think it's going to be. But I haven't watched it myself yet.
That's on the list.
Yeah, Rick's going to be up he's going to be away from home for a few nights this week. So I think this is my opportunity to watch some of the most cringe. So yeah, I will be doing that for sure. But speaking of traditions, I managed to get I found an article that was basically like talking about some traditions, 5 holiday traditions that you should embrace. This was written in 2018 and it's from some website called beermonthclub.com. But I just wanted to know, I thought, I'll read out these to you. You can tell me what you think of these traditions. But then I had ChatGPT suggest some new traditions. So then I thought we could then talk about ChatGPT's recommendations. Okay. So these top 5. So I'm going to read them exactly as the titles say.
Okay.
So FYI, it's not me saying these things. Tradition 1. Pick a kick-ass holiday seasonal beer and hoist that baby every year when you're hanging your lights.
Okay.
I think it's just pick a beer you're going to have every year and drink it. Does that feel like a tradition that you could get behind?
Yeah, like, maybe you get a celebration IPA every year or, Delirium Christmas or something, a Christmassy beer that is repeatable, then yeah, you can do that.
I feel like for me, the problem would be I might be slightly worried that you'd pick the beer that would then like suddenly not come out anymore. And then you'd be like, and that is my whole Christmas tradition ruined.
Yeah.
Tradition 2, share a massive ABV barrel-aged beer with someone who claims not to like beer.
I mean, I kind of do that, but I do it at New Year's and I take the weirdest beers in my stash and get my uncle to drink them. And
do that.
I do that every year. And every year he hates everything I give him. But to his credit, he tries them.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, that one, the whole point of it is then you end up getting somebody that's unsuspecting and they end up liking something they didn't think that they would like and all that. And so it's meant to be a positive. But then I look at that and I'm like, yeah, but why am I going to share with someone that claims to not like beer?
Right. Why am I sharing something really good with somebody.
Yeah, like I want to be sharing with someone that's going to appreciate it. Yeah. But okay, that was tradition number 2. Tradition number 3, buy and drink 5 new holiday seasonal beers you've never tried. I feel like I just do this normally anyways.
Yeah, I just do that anyway.
This just feels like a year round.
We've done 3 today.
100%.
Yeah.
Tradition number 4, find one of your favourite holiday beers on draft at a cool bar and kick it with your favourite peeps. So I wanted to be really clear, I did not write these titles.
That's fun. I mean, just go out for a drink with your buds. Just go out for a drink with your buds. Like,
yeah, you find a cool bar and kick it with your favourite peeps.
Okay.
Yeah, again, I felt like that was another one. I was like, that doesn't feel like that's holiday specific, but okay. Yeah. And then tradition number 5, buy a magnum of something cool and bring it to a party.
I mean, that's fun, but you've got to have the right people that want to drink it all.
I don't think we have that many magnums.
Right, exactly. Magnums are difficult to get hold of and also very expensive. So you've got to have the right people to drink it.
Yeah, I think my feeling of these 5, for me, my summary was that a lot of this felt like you could do this year round, and they didn't feel like specific Christmas specific suggestions, and potentially not finding the right target audience. Is that fair to say?
I would agree.
Okay, so now let me offer you what ChatGPT said that you could be doing. So DIY, build an advent calendar, which is creating your own calendar. It's a great way to explore new beers each evening and making it a mini beer tasting event. I feel like, again, we've talked about advent calendars before, but this year you didn't do one, you said?
I didn't do one this year. I used to, and there's a video on my YouTube channel about how to do it and a blog post on my blog about how to do it. I have noticed that in the last couple of months that article is getting a lot of love because people are obviously looking that up. Yeah, I think that is a good thing to do. My problem with it is either if I got extra beers for it, I wasn't getting through them, so then I was adding to my stash. I would then try and use it as a de-stash and put the beers in randomly and then pull them out. But I just wouldn't get through them. Like, I don't drink every day. So then trying to get through the beers. And then sometimes I find myself away over Christmas. Like last year I was away in Germany for a bit for work. So I didn't get them drunk. Like this week I'm off a couple of, we're meeting up with work friends for drinks. So if I'm drinking out, I'm not going to drink when I'm at home. So you then end up with a bit of a backlog. So that's why I've stopped doing it. But if you are starting out in craft beer, it is a good way to get a range of things to try that you might not have tried before and might not have picked for yourself. So depends on if you can drink it all, or if you don't have a massive stash like some of us that you don't mind adding to.
I agree that for me, I'm also not I don't drink every night. It becomes really difficult. So that's why it's not a tradition for me, but I do think that it would work very well as a tradition for others. So definitely one to consider. Number 2, Christmas beer tasting party, which is just host a holiday themed beer tasting with friends or family. Choose festive beers like winter ale, stouts and spiced lagers, adding tasting cards for everyone to rate their favourite. Bonus points for pairing beers with Christmas treats like gingerbread or cheese boards. So it's a fun and social festive way to try new flavours while celebrating the season. Do you think that's a tradition that you would recommend somebody to get behind?
Yeah, I'd recommend, that sounds like a fun thing to do with friends. My problem is that my beer friends don't live near me. So trying to get everyone together to do that is more difficult, especially as everyone is also busy during Christmas anyway. But it would definitely be a fun thing to do if you have people near you who like drinking beer and would share that time with you. Yes, I think I could get behind that.
That themed bottle share, really, more than calling it just a tasting party. Number 3, annual Christmas brew off. So if you're a home brewer, start a yearly tradition of brewing a holiday beer. Experiment with festive ingredients like cinnamon, nutmeg, orange peel, or even candy canes. Name the beer something holiday themed and share it with loved ones. Every year you can refine your recipe or try something completely new, creating a beer legacy. Do you think that could be a really cool, that sounded like a cool, actually ChatGPT gave us an actual cool suggestion there.
I did used to do that when I had time to homebrew. I'd do a Christmas beer of some sort. I think I did a spiced cranberry ale one year.
That sounds really nice.
I've done that a couple of times. I think I gave you one.
You might have done, to be fair.
Yeah, when I had time to homebrew, I definitely used to do that. So that's definitely a good tradition to try out if you are a homebrewer.
Surely the difficulty there, though, is if you're going to do it as a, like, if you're wanting to drink it for the Christmas period, you probably have to brew it earlier.
Yep.
So this would be like you're either brewing one as a Christmas every year tradition enough in advance, so it maybe doesn't feel as Christmassy or holiday-y, so that you can actually enjoy it by Christmas, or you just go, it'll be a New Year's brew.
I think if you are kind of a home brewer that's brewing regularly anyway, you kind of fit it in your schedule, and then you've got a nice beer to drink for Christmas. So it depends on how you look at it. I think rather than actually brewing near Christmas, you brew for Christmas. And that's quite a fun tradition, because then you've got your own beer to share with people over Christmas. You can brew Christmas presents for people.
Oh yeah, that's
force your beer on people.
And then they have to say nice things about it.
And then they have to say nice things about it because
it's a present.
Because it was a thoughtful gift.
I like that. That's good. But also you could also brew like a New Year's one. So if you wanted you wanted it to feel a little bit more festive, you could probably just about start brewing a New Year's beer.
Yeah. Our friend Sarah Marie said to me the other day, she was like, I was really concerned when you first gave me a beer that you'd made yourself, because I didn't think it could be any good, but it was actually quite nice. I was like, thanks.
Thanks, but also it was a thoughtful gift, so she couldn't say anything anyways. The fourth suggestion came up was beer and carol pairing night. So it says pair different styles of Christmas carols for a themed evening. For each, for example, sip a dark porter during Silent Night, or enjoy golden ale with jingle bells. It's a fun, quirky way to blend holiday music with your love of beer, creating memorable moments. This doesn't feel like it's got the longevity for a whole actual tradition, but it did make me laugh trying to be like each song and be like, shit, okay, come up with a new one.
Where's my next beer? This feels over-engineered. Like
it does, which is exactly what ChatGPT does. It made me laugh though, because I was like, what are some of them like? I'm trying to think like Dominic the donkey, and you're like, shit.
Dominic the donkey?
Yeah, have you never heard of the Italian Christmas donkey?
I have heard of Italian Christmas donkey, yeah.
Yeah, Dominic.
I feel like it needs to be a flight, right? And then you get noticed before the next song of which one you should like. Now we need to move to the next beer.
We are now moving on, but then that feels like a very short-lived, event,
and everyone's drunk at the end of it.
Yeah, I guess how long are the flights? Things are warm. Things are too warm by that point.
That's always your concern, isn't it? That things end up being too warm by the end of it.
It is, and it's a very valid concern. Would you recommend that one? I don't know if I would co-sign that one.
It feels that.
Would you put your name on it?
No, I wouldn't.
Exactly. That's to distill it down. Would you put your name on that? No. Yes or no?
No. That feels over-engineered.
I agree. Number 5, the Christmas beer toast. Choose a special beer to toast with during Christmas dinner. Make it a rare find or a unique seasonal brew, and share a story about the beer's background or why it was chosen. It creates a meaningful ritual and makes beer a centerpiece of your holiday celebrations. Is that one that you'd put your name on?
Sharing a fun, like a special beer, yes. Telling people about its special origins, no.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, they had me on board until they're like, now share the story about the background and why you chose it. My family would be like, fuck off.
Talking about your bloody beer. Give us the turkey. Like, what? I don't care. Like, I don't care at all. Why are you telling us about this beer? Drink it and eat your dinner.
I love that, because I am just picturing someone standing up to do a toast and they're like, now, when I first found this beer, like, they're all just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I can see my brother's face, like, that's murder in his eyes. He's like, sit down, what are you doing?
And you're like, now, back when this brewery was founded in 19, and they're like, no.
Especially as no one else in my family that would be at Christmas dinner cares about beer at all.
That's what I mean. It's like, maybe if this was like a Friendsgiving or something, and it was like a beer share, and you're like, this is why I picked this is really special. You're like, it's family dinner. Yeah. I'm the only beer nerd in the building. And then you're like, let me
absolutely not
tell you. So I bought a probably way more expensive bottle of beer than I should have bought from a a brew in the Netherlands, and I bought it because it was called Victoria, and I was like, well, I want that bottle.
Yeah.
And it's a 750ml bottle, and I'm just imagining me like stood up like, everybody, and I'm like, I would like to tell you about this bottle that I have bought and purchased, and you will all have a sip.
Absolutely not.
They would be like, immediately no. Like, but actually, I'd put my name against that because it would make me laugh. But I also wouldn't, because I'd feel like everyone would hate me for that.
Yeah.
Number 6, holiday beer cooking day. So it's dedicate a day to beer cooking or baking with beer, create beer infused recipes like beer cheese fondue, stout brownies, IPA glazed ham, and involve the whole family in cooking and sampling the brews. It brings beer into the holiday kitchen and adds unique flavours to your Christmas menu.
I feel like it doesn't need to be a day.
I feel like we just made a Christmas tradition that we didn't need to make.
Yeah. Like, I've made stout cookies for Christmas that are great. I've made, for a bit I was making dark chocolate and stout fudge.
Oh,
that I gave out as presents.
That sounds nice.
It was good. When I had my cherry barley wine, putting that in it, dark chocolate fudge with cherry barley wine in it, that went down well. So yeah, you can do that, but I don't think it needs to be a whole day.
No, I agree. I think you just make the things. You just make the things.
Just commandeering things and adding beer to it. Like,
and
hello, I am a craft beer nerd. Let me just squeeze beer into every aspect of my entire life.
I do think that is like one of the key things as well. Is like, you can enjoy beer and the nerdy side of beer, but it doesn't mean that you want to like shoehorn every single thing. Speaking of, though, number 7, it's a beer stocking tradition. So instead of candy, fill a stocking with mini beer bottles, beer related gadgets, or brewing supplies. Make it a surprise for a beer loving family member. It adds a Christmas themed twist. It adds a beer themed twist to a classic Christmas tradition. I feel like that's good for like 1 year.
Yeah.
Until you have 7 bottle openers.
Gordon used to buy me a different bottle opener every year. I have a variety of different ones because he'd find me a different type every year. I've got one that's the Millennium Falcon.
That's cool.
Wonder Woman one. Then he made us a Woman's Brew.
The podcast
one. So,
that's my favorite. That's genuinely my favorite one.
He got me this.
It's above my head. It just says the podcast.
Cicerone one. I have a variety of different ones that Gordon has got me every year. So
I love that. I think that's great. But also, I feel like there's only, like, for me, I've got loads of bottle openers, and I can only ever use.
But you can only use one at a time, right?
And 2 maybe if you're having people around and you're a bit like, you need a bottle opener and I need a bottle opener. The podcast is reserved for me. No one else is allowed to use that one. But yeah, that feels a bit like, that's great for 1 year, but a tradition, I don't think I can put my name and co-sign that. Number 8 is festive beer ornament exchange, which is find or make a beer themed Christmas ornament, which could be a beer stein, hop shaped, etc., etc., and then exchange with friends or family each year. I think in this one, this is again has to be like a bottle share, because if you were like, excuse me, family members, we are going to be doing a beer themed ornament
Christmas
exchange.
Ornament. Now,
they would be like, what?
My absolute favourite ornament that I put on the tree every year is a little 6-pack of Alaskan Amber that I got when I was in Alaska. Absolutely love it. But lots of beer, like, because then you'd end up with loads of beer ornaments, right? Like, that's kind of a bit.
You'd look like a drunk. The whole tree would be.
And also some people don't like to do, like, I love a tree that is full of baubles and decorations that you've collected over time.
Some people like
tell a story. Some people like, all silver.
I know. Mine are all collected. Mine are all ones that I've had since I was a child.
I love collections.
Mine are like homemade ornaments I made as a kid. Oh my god, I've got the best story to tell you, but not on the podcast. I have to read you. I have to read you a letter that my mum that I wrote to my family.
Yeah. And
my mum sent it to me, and she said, "Sorry, I had to." And it ended with, I will give you a spoiler alert, it ended with, "But that's life." And I wrote this at like 8 years old, and I laughed so hard. And I've just said about making Christmas ornaments as a child has just popped into my head and made me think of that letter. And I cannot wait to read you that letter. It was great. It made me laugh really hard, and I feel like I want to sign off all my emails with, but that's just life.
That's just life. Signed 8-year-old Tori.
Yeah, like I don't. It was so good. Cannot wait to read that to you. Amazing. Number 9, midnight beer toast for Santa. Instead of milk and cookies, leave out craft beer and pretzels for Santa and sneak a midnight toast yourself. Choose a beer with a fun holiday name. I mean, to be fair, I definitely will leave out a beer for Santa. I feel like he'd appreciate it. I've got a few beer snacks in the cupboard, so I'll do my best beer and snack pairing for him. So, and number 10, this one made me chuckle way more than it should have. An annual holiday beer photo. So take a photo each year with your family or friends holding your favorite holiday beer, including funny props like Santa hats or hopgoblins, and make it a yearly keepsake. Does that not make you hate the hobby?
Like, people don't like taking yearly Christmas photos, let alone... Now we're going to make it beer themed, everyone.
Every year.
Beer themed every year.
Does that not make you hate us more than... Like, I feel like if there's a way to make somebody hate us as hobby people more, that's the one.
Just make everybody has to like what I like.
Yeah, to the nth degree. No. This is take it, you go all the way.
Cannot co-sign that, I'm afraid.
Any new traditions you think you want to take on board? So you can ditch them all at the door.
No, I don't think I'd take on any of those. I mean, I already do. They get someone to taste the beers that you bring one. I do that at New Year's. It's not a Christmas one.
I still really like the idea. Explaining to everybody at your Christmas dinner table why you've picked.
Definitely.
They're like, we're hungry, and you're like, I would love to let you eat, but first,
let me read you this diatribe on this beer that I'm going to drink and you don't care about.
You're all going to sample it, and they're like, the dinner's getting cold, and you're like, please no complaints. I've got a lot to get through. Please.
No, I'm not doing that.
Excellent. Well, okay. Those are some traditions that, if other people might want to take on themselves.
Well, Tori, if someone wants to suggest some new traditions to you, where can they get hold of you?
Yeah, if you want to come and suggest some new traditions to me, or you want to tell me about the history and the backstory of your favourite beer, I will be a sit-in for your family. You can tell me about it. So I'll help spare them. You can find me on Instagram at adventures_in_hoptimism, or you can email me at adventuresinhoptimism@gmail.com. If you have some really good traditions that Joe and I both could start as a podcast, you want to see certain Christmas traditions of maybe lists we make every year together, or something that we can do as a podcast every year for help us make our next Christmas content.
Yes.
You can message us both on A Woman's Brew on Instagram and Facebook, or you can email in your ideas at awomansbrewpodcast@gmail.com. Joe, if people want to talk to you about when you used to brew your Christmas beer, when you had time to homebrew, where can people talk to you?
You can come and talk to me. I haven't homebrewed in a while because I just do not have time anymore. But I can talk to you about homebrewing. And what sorts of flavours you might want to use for a Christmas brew. You can come find me on Instagram. I am Love Beer Learning. I'm over on Facebook as well. But pretty much you'll find me on Instagram. Or you can come to my website, which is Love Beer Learning. There are various different bits and pieces on the blog there. As I said, if you want to find out about doing a DIY advent calendar for next year, it's a bit late now. I mean, you could do 12 days of Christmas one now.
It's not
Similar
too late.
concept. It's not
I mean,
too
it
late.
will be by the time. I feel like by the time this comes out,
but it could be 12 days, like after Christmas to New Year. You could do yourself one if you wanted. Information on how to do that is on the blog, or you can email me lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. Let's go finish these lovely Christmas beers. So, season's greetings, happy holidays to everyone. Cheers.